Hello and welcome to another edition of The One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Kyle. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great because you know what? We won last night.
Yeah, and it was a nice bow on, for some, maybe a very frustrating Leagues Cup. But at the end of the day, Union pick up a CONCACAF Champions Cup. It still feels odd to me without saying
CCL.
CCL. Now you got to say CCC or Triple C. I mean, I'd probably go CCC.
CCC.
Yeah,
Still, CCL comes off the tongue a little bit better.
it does. But on today's show, I guess we're going to talk a little bit about, just our overall thoughts of Leagues Cup. We're also going to discuss, obviously, the Union's game last night versus Monterey. Dive in a little bit to our trip to Montreal. Talk about our visit to Stade Saputo.
Yes.
And then kind of just look ahead to the end of the year. Union got 11 games, I believe, left. And so we're going to discuss that and break that down and kind of how the Union, transitioned from this pretty much almost a month-long tournament to now switching gears. And I know a lot of people have talked about it already, but we'll give our thoughts. So before we get started, what are we wearing today?
All right. Well, what are we 43 episodes in? It's I gotta add more to the collection to keep things fresh, but it's all good. Yeah. I'm just wearing the season ticket members navy blue shirt from last year with the snake on it, the join or die snake.
And you got your awesome headband on.
I got my headband.
And I'm wearing the Philadelphia Union t-shirt with Mikel Ua, who scored a goal last night.
It was a good choice for today.
It was a good choice, but some may see this t-shirt is not good. See what I did there?
Oh, I know what you did there.
And if you haven't followed, there is a meme going around right now, which it is classic. I mean, the response and the story behind it, which we'll let others discuss. But
you don't want to tell the story behind that?
Nah. I mean, it's a long story, but maybe one day when we get one of our friends on, we can dive back into that, because that's one of the Union moments of the year, in my opinion. Just that response. But hey,
yeah,
to his credit, he gets a start last night and played really well. But
yeah,
and we'll talk about that. But before we get started, make sure to follow us and please interact with us, because we love hearing from you. And we got a poll out right now, so you can check that out on our Twitter page. And you can follow us on Twitter at TOTWAG, and we're on Instagram and Facebook, as always, at the One Team We Agree On. And then we're on Apple, Google, and Spotify podcasts, and also, of course, YouTube. If you're watching this and listening as well, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment. Again, we love hearing from you.
We do.
So let's go ahead and discuss the Leagues Cup. And let's start out, because a million people have discussed the Messi game.
Yeah.
We haven't done podcasts because we were on vacation, obviously. We missed the Querétaro game, and we missed, obviously, the Miami game.
Yeah, and we did watch them. So we were in Vermont. We actually got up to Vermont the day of the Querétaro game.
Mm-hmm.
So we watched that, and it's not the same watching these things on my laptop, but we were definitely there in spirit with you, and wish we could have been at Subaru Park, but also, we had vacation planned, and God knows we need vacation.
Yes.
So, but and then we went to Montreal, and the day we came back from Montreal was the day of the game against Miami.
Correct.
So, yeah, sorry about it that we were not there.
No, and I guess to the point, we've said from day one, the Union came out. There is a world, and I said this to several people, there is a world where that Miami game could have easily been 3-3 before that last goal was given up. Graham Blake did not play. That was like 1 in 4 years he has a stinker, and let's be honest, Jim got out coached, put a lineup. I mean, if that's the game you want to make a statement that Mikel did not play well against Querétaro, which he didn't, I get what he's going for there as a coach, but I'm not going to defend him on that. And he even said last night after the game, he probably made a lot of mistakes in that game. And then they went on and played scared. I mean, they played scared against Miami. They were starstruck, and you know, it is what it is. Is it disappointing? We could easily been in the championship game, absolutely. But I don't know. It was just a wild time after that game, and I think there's still a whole season to be played. You know, you're starting to see some fatigue set in, and we honestly did not play well against Red Bull DC. It was like I told you that night we were coming back from Montreal before the game. Like, this is one of the games this year I kind of could see it coming. We just were not playing well. And Miami's the team that they're gonna make you pay when you have mistakes.
Right. And I mean, the whole thing with the game with Messi on, it's been beaten to death at this point. We have heard so many different viewpoints on it,
And some are great.
and some people were, I think, a little dramatic about everything, and then some people definitely had more of a pragmatic look at it, a little more measured about it. But we're not gonna spend too much time on
No,
this, but I will say this. I thought when we were watching on the laptop, the game against Miami, I thought the fans, our fans, the real fans, sounded great.
they did.
We really did. And I know there were more mics in there and everything and was picking up the sound, but I'll tell you what, you guys that were there, you sounded great and really brought it. And you made me proud when I heard the booing and I heard the sucks for
Yeah.
the players. I mean, God, I wanted to be there to, say sucks and boo the GOAT, but I did from Vermont where I was watching it. But,
Yeah, yeah, and I think that the atmosphere was electric.
yeah.
So credit to everybody that showed up, wore blue, wore gold. It was awesome, and we want to see more of that because I really feel like, and this is a whole discussion for another time about that, but this is something that if we can bring that every day, the atmosphere we show with the amount of seats, we don't have a huge stadium, but we have passionate fans that it's awesome to see. So
I hope that the more casual people that were either there or watching, that at least they saw what an environment we have. Because I also, the thing that drives me a little nuts is the fact that the casual fan might also be watching that and thinking that our team is ass and that Andre Blake isn't good from that performance, but that can be further from the truth. But I think one thing that did show was what a great environment we have there.
it really did, and that's my concern too. That granted, we had great fan showing up, but how many of them are going to come back? And that's a legitimate concern. But at the same time, the fans that did come back yesterday, they were just as loud, even though it wasn't as many.
Yeah.
It was again a raucous environment, especially when we scored those goals. It was a great atmosphere. So
Yeah, and I do want to say one really good thing about that game at Miami, Bedoya scoring.
yes,
It was great to have Ali back and for him to score. And then, of course, he scored last night, which was great too. So, welcome back, Cap.
yes, definitely. So let's talk about the game against Monterey. Now, going into that, Monterey had already qualified for next year's CCC. So, and their coach come out said it was heavily rotated, and even Jim after Miami games like, well, and even leading up to it, what is that going to look like? Because it's kind of an awkward situation. They've already qualified, but we knew that. So how is that going to look? They obviously did go to that, but also I felt a couple things about the game. So when we showed up, I thought the tailgate, it was a good crowd. A couple people said it was very much the crowd that was at like kind of the crowd. Some people, and if you were there, was it and at both these tailgates, was it bigger for Miami? Some people I was talking to said it was about the same. I thought some of the pictures would look a little bit bigger for Miami.
Yeah, we had a good time at the Sons of Ben tailgate,
They
and
did.
there was a pretty good crowd there. Not definitely not very many at Union Yards before the game. Now after the game, there was a bunch of people there, but we had kind of a half price sort of Sons of Ben tailgate. But
It was a good time.
yeah, and I know we were missing a whole bunch of people who were at a wedding of Sons of Ben vice president.
Yes,
But
congratulations.
yes,
Yes.
congrats.
Yes.
And but I'll tell you what, I I really love this family we have
Mhm.
at Subaru Park and at the Union things, because we went from not knowing anybody at these games to, we're walking around talking to so many people, and it's great. Like, I was joking, I'm like, we bring in our chairs, but then we like never sit in them.
No, but and also want to give a shout out to Kim McGlynn,
Yeah, we got
Jack's mom, who
yeah.
was there last night, and she came up to you.
Yeah, so Kim, if you're listening, it was really great to meet you in
Yes,
person. And you know, honestly, thank you for your son. He is
and he had a great game
what a
last
game
night.
he had last night.
Yep.
Yeah, so but that tailgate, good times, and
It was a good time,
yeah.
and, like I said, like you said, good energy.
Mhm.
Um, there wasn't outside of those 2 things a lot going on, like, we went to the plaza and kinda peeked in, there wasn't a lot going on there.
Yeah, we're like, on second thought, let's just go in.
Yeah, and then we kinda got in the stadium, and we were there early,
We
but
weren't in that early though, and there was not like the usual crowd in the concourse. So it was actually very easy to walk around everywhere and easy
it
to go
it
right
felt
into the team store and all that.
it felt very much like a Wednesday night
It did. It
game
did.
that,
Not a
like,
Saturday.
it didn't feel like a 3rd place champions ship game. It felt very much like, okay, it's gonna be the real fans were gonna be there, some people maybe that got tickets after the game. But I mean, the crowd was good. Everybody was
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, that was a stinker. Let's move on. And talking to people in the Sons of Ben tailgate, a lot of people were just ready to move on. It was like that was bad. So there was a good hopeful, and
Mhm.
I think from that aspect, definitely once the players started marching out and, got through all the pregame routines, it was a good time.
Yeah. And I did stop in the team store. I did get some merch. Oh, I should
Yeah,
grab that. Um
it's right here.
oh, oh, you were on it. You were
Yeah.
on it. Um
For once, I'm
yes.
actually on it.
Yeah. All right. So I actually go back to school. Well, I have in service this week coming up, and the kids go back to school. So I'm getting back in teacher mode. And one thing that is true about my classroom is it is windowless and it's kind of ugly unless I jazz it up with decorations. And of course, I have it full of Philadelphia sports teams paraphernalia as a 5 for 5. Um, you bet. I have everything in there. Lots of union stuff though. Definitely lots of union stuff. But I needed to definitely get myself a Fang plushie. So
Mhm.
got a Fang. And these things are adorable. Okay. So I will be putting that in my classroom.
Mhm.
And thank you to Conrad for
Yeah, Blake
um
Conrad, who we
getting me a rally top from the Miami game, and signed by Quinn Sullivan.
yes, and so shout out to Conrad for getting us that. That was awesome.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
And but and then you had seen some pictures of some of the players
Yeah, so
coming in.
I always love
So
the arrival pictures, and this one is my winner for the night for best dressed.
yeah,
Okay. Um, Jesus Bueno. Okay. Choo Choo coming in just already looks like he's got that swagger, but that outfit is straight fire.
I do like that shirt. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
And the sunglasses just complete it, the ripped jeans. 11 out of 10, best dressed of the night. And there were some other really good ones too. If you haven't seen them on Instagram or Twitter or anything like that, they look great. And I'll probably end up sharing some more of those, but Ty Barbell was one of the arrivals and looked good, and we'll talk more about him. Ali Bedoya, real clean cut looking polo. Andre Blake always looks fantastic. He's always at least a 10 out of 10. Matt Real, he's got like some purple going on. He always likes to wear his hats and everything. He looks good. Another one that's always one of my best dressed ones, of course, is Jose Martinez. He's got like the cartoons on his shirt there. It's like the Animaniacs or something.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Raffanello. Okay. Rafa's always looking good. Quinn, I like his striped shirt that he's got on. And then, of course, if you haven't seen it either, and we got Jacob Glessness as the last picture on there, and with his son, which adorable.
I would definitely say Bueno was best dressed of the bunch last night.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and so with the game once it started, now when we saw the lineup, it was kind of what we expected. Went back to Diamond Witch. I think for this game, I think we all were kind of clamoring for it as fans, and so it was good to see Jim kind of went back, and Bueno started the scoring. Now, I thought the difference between the last two games and last night. Now, I'll say this in context: we were playing basically Monterey's B team.
Right.
I mean, they came out. You saw it. We saw.
They've got the 3-digit numbers. It's like their academy and like B team kind of players,
which is fine. I mean,
yeah,
they're
I don't
top
blame them for
teams in
doing that.
Liga MX, and what are they playing for? They're really not. They're just going to get that.
They've been on the road for all this time,
18 days,
and they already have a berth in CCC. So like, really, why do they want to risk their starters getting injured at this point and give the other guys a chance? So
my biggest concern with this game was, were we going to lay an egg?
Right,
against the B team. Well, we there was like a lot of different opinions, but that was my biggest concern. And I'll say from the get-go,
we made it very clear
that we were there to actually get that berth, and so credit to those guys for bouncing back.
27 seconds into the game.
So yeah, I mean, this is a little clip up of the goals, and we're going to talk more about the game, but I want to share this. The Union posted this here today. This was actually really kind of a nice kind of breakdown here. So I mean, that was really nice. Nice ball in the box, dangerous area. Kind of deflection. He's right there, knocks it right in. Be curious to see what Todd's goal breakdown looks like, if he's going to do one. I'm not sure, but that was a really nice goal. And like you said, right off the bat, boom, we're up 1-0.
Can you imagine if we did that on Tuesday?
Oh, that place would.
Oh my gosh, that would totally changed the
game. Doug turned around with Doug, the guy sits in front of us, turns around, and goes, if we would have done out there, the place would have imploded.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And that's kind of where we are. So
can we all agree that like our MVP of the League's Cup run was Jesus Bueno?
I think I will say he grew the most.
He did.
Anybody in this tournament. And so
like, what curious, a breakout performance for him.
Hit us up on Twitter, comment in the YouTube page. We want to know, who do you stood out the most in this tournament? Because I think for both of us it was Bueno, by far. So there was that goal, and then the Union kind of settled in, and again, I really was happy with how we were getting after it. And a couple people around, it's like, man, where was this on Tuesday night? And again, it goes with that caveat of, okay, again, this is a B team, but yes, you're doing what you're supposed to do. So while was it beautiful? No, there were some things that you could definitely work on still. But one of the other nice things was then, so we're gonna watch the rest of this, was this ball by Jack McGlynn to Mikkel. I mean, look at that.
Chef's kiss on that. What a pass.
And again, it doesn't show the run that Ua makes. Ua makes a great run, and finally Jack picks him up. And that's what Mikkel does. So again, it goes back to and I'm going to stop this for a little bit because we'll show the alley goal, but it goes back to the fact that at times this year, and we've seen it in this tournament, we've seen it, and I've seen it in the press box, you've seen it down below, we've both seen it. Mikkel's making these runs, they're not picking them up, or he'll make a run, the ball was played too far in front. We saw that a little bit last night where he just couldn't get to it. Now, that's not to say against Querétaro, he had a bad game. There were opportunities, and he had 1 or 2 balls last night, could have done a little bit more with. But when you feed him a ball like that, he's going to finish. And 9 times out of 10. And so that was good to see. And again, let's be honest, he really needed that goal.
He did. And did you see after Ua scored, he and Jack McGlynn hugged, and you can read lips of Ua saying thank you to Jack.
And it was very good to see that. And then that kind of took us into the half. And you're feeling good. The only thing I was saying back in my head, Williams of Monterey, because it kind of did to LAFC Williams that they're like, oh, we're only 2 down, let's bring everybody in and kind of
Right.
steal the show. But they really didn't. They kind of
No.
made a couple subs in, and
Mhm.
the second half we kind of came out again and really put pressure on it. Quinn had that ball that was really nice. But even before that, in the first half, Jack had that scorcher that right at the keeper made really nice
There were a
save.
few nice shots at and Brujo, he had
Yeah.
a real nice shot that their keeper, saved as well. But
So I mean,
yeah.
for a little bit more clinical, we finish them. To put what Jim kind of said, maybe we have a 4-goal lead there, and that might have been nice. But then getting to that second half, Quinn has that ball deflected. He kind of right there knocks it right in. Was it offsides? We thought he was on, and I even checked with a couple other people. They thought he was on, but I guess it was really tight. It was one of those situations you really couldn't overturn.
And I'm terrible at, knowing when. I mean, the obvious ones I'm good at, but like Ted Lasso, I am learning.
But I also heard somebody say that Kai was kind of offsides on that play. So I don't know. If anybody else has anything to chime in, that was good. But
yes, it's funny because Ptolemy, I mean, we're like, Quinn was leaving. We were at the end of the game there, and Ptolemy's like, it was a goal in our hearts.
It
I'm
was.
like, yes,
right
on. And he like smiled, and yeah.
And then again, subs start coming on. Allie comes on again, and that's going to lead us to our third goal here. Because the second half, they I thought for the most part they did a decent job of keeping the pressure on. But really nice ball in, nice deflection, and
what a goal, right?
Yeah, because if he shoots that straight, that's getting deflected. He sees he's got to go
below
down.
the legs. Yeah, that was awesome goal by our captain.
So I guess it brings back to the point of, Bueno has kind of grown into that role, especially in the diamond.
Yes.
He plays well with Martinez. And when I had asked him that after one of the games, he kind of even touched on that. So I think, and this is my question to you, is Allie now coming off the bench and doing this kind of stuff as a spark?
Honestly, I really like this role for him.
20 to 30 minutes a game, with a spot start here and there, keeps him healthy.
Yeah.
Keeps him healthy, and he comes in and he plays. And Jim mentioned it last night. Bizo, he was kind of shaky at times. There was 3 or 4 times we're like, oh, that's so Bizo.
Yeah.
But
Allie makes Bizo better.
He does. And so I think from that aspect, for a second half spark, if you can bring him off the bench like that, it's not bad. We saw it at Red Bull last year, even when he didn't start. He came in second half because he needed rest. Came in, the game totally changed. So just like maybe the rotation up front with the forwards now that Ty's kind of getting involved, there's some interesting pieces that are for this home stretch that you could definitely. And I'm not saying, I mean, at DC next week, Allie could start. We know Jim likes to start, but that's an interesting nuance. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about that as well, because I really think that could be a role for him, possibly coming off that bench, especially like on the Saturday or Sunday, Wednesday games with not a lot of rest. You want to keep him involved. So,
and let's say this, it is going to be really hard to keep Bueno out of this line. You gotta
absolutely
have him in there somehow.
I mean, Jack in the diamond right now, I would go with Jack, Jesus, guys dug up top, and then Martinez. I think that's kind of the diamond shape that I'd like to see. I mean, obviously, Flock does serve a role.
Yeah.
Especially the defensive presence. And he does at times this year has shown improvement. So that would be curious to see. But at the end of the day, Union win. They now have locked up 3 out of the 4 years of CCC spot. That's an improvement. So I think, yes, again, you could have said maybe it's for not because we didn't lift a cup. where I'm going to come with this is at least we got something out of the tournament, because
Right.
my whole thing is if we made it this far,
Yeah.
it would have been a
Make it
disappointment.
that far. You have
Eh,
injuries, it's wear and tear on our players, and to come up empty handed. I mean, it's like you're going for it or you're not, you know.
So let's talk about the overall tournament. First, has your mind changed from the beginning of this tournament? Because we were both like, it's a money grab. The
Yeah,
season's
we're like,
long.
yeah. I mean, part of the reason why, our vacation is pretty much, when it was because that's when we could go. But also we're like, oh well, we were scheduling this months ago. We're like, oh well, maybe we'll be playing in the Leagues Cup at that point, but nah, oh well.
Oh well.
'Cause do we really care about Leagues Cup? And I will say this. Yeah, it's a money grab and everything and all that, but I had a lot of fun. Not gonna lie. I had a lot of fun going to these games, watching these games. And is it a little ridiculous that the team in last place in dead last in MLS just won Leagues Cup? Well, yeah, that's how it goes. But it's a totally different team
No.
at this point. But no, I had a lot of fun and we got to see all this amazing play by Jesus Bueno. We really got to see some uh guys rise to the top here. So
Harriel was one.
Harriel did a good job.
Jack
Yeah.
did a good job. I mean, we got to see
Yeah.
some players really step up. My whole thought is, has my mind changed on Leagues Cup? And my answer is no. I'm going to be the negative person in this group. It's a money grab.
Mhm.
It's not wasn't really fair to Liga MX. I
Yeah.
mean, you saw it. All 3 spots went to MLS teams.
Yeah.
Um, it took a toll on some of our players, like, Daniel,
Yeah.
got knocked, which could have been
Julian.
more. Julian got knocked, didn't play really in the
Thank
last.
God Brujo's okay.
Yeah,
Because rewatch it. I mean, last night
that was another
watching
one.
live when
But
he got hit in the face by the ball deflecting. Oh my
when the
goodness.
car came out, I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, great, they're
Oh
just."
God.
Yeah, like, so
Yeah.
injuries and knocks, fatigue. I mean, the amount of games we played.
Oh,
And
crazy
then
amount of
in our
games.
second half of the schedule, I mean, it's not easy.
No.
There's a lot. We're playing a lot of the top teams in the East still.
Yeah, we have some
So
big games coming up.
we have a ton of big games, and because we made it, now that game against Dallas gets bumped to a week where we're gonna squeeze in. I think it's right after the LAFC game, so you're gonna put that in there. So you have basically LAFC, Dallas, and then Columbus. I mean, whew,
Mhm.
that's a tough little stretch, and that's coming off of, I think, Cincinnati, Charlotte as well. So that's a lot of games. So, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But I will say that, having said that, I'm still not a fan of this tournament.
Mhm.
Don't take that the wrong way. Were the games fun? Yes. The games we went to, we had a blast. I had a
Mhm.
blast being up in the press box, covering this team. I love it up there, but I also love being down with, I
Mhm.
love moving around because I thought the environment was great. We obviously got to see with the message, the Miami game, what kind of fan base and how big we can pack it for big games. And I'd like to see that a little bit more, obviously,
It was kind of disappointing how empty it was last night, and
because of that.
there were
Yeah.
certain groups of people not there really. Um, and just
But
yeah,
again, I mean, it is what it
it
is.
is what it is. But we had a great time, and
It was fun,
as
and
always, 136 brought it.
they did.
Shout out to 136.
Yeah, and so I think that from that aspect, I had a blast. It was fun to see different
We
teams.
got to see Ty Barbo make his very brief debut.
So
I
let's
was
talk
like,
about that because we skipped all that. So we
yeah,
were sitting there towards the end of the game, and you're up 3-0,
and
and
yeah,
and then Donovan comes in like,
we're like,
oh
why not Ty?
yeah, and then we're like, okay, when's Mikel gonna come off? And Jim kept Mikel on, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is Jim saying, okay, Mikel, you play a great game like this, I'm gonna reward you, which
Hmm.
totally cool with.
Hmm.
But really, we got DC coming up,
We got like
rest.
10 seconds of Ty.
Yeah, and then so we're watching Tasha stand there, and then finally he runs on, and we're like, okay, he's gonna get some injury time.
Oh, and we were all chanting for him too,
Oh, we were,
doing the tequila chant, but with Baribo.
yeah, so I think Ty coming in there, runs on the field, and the guy blows the
There was no stoppage time. I guess he
Uh,
just wanted it to end because there really should have been. I mean,
It was probably 2,
there was a
3
goal,
minutes.
there was VAR check, there was,
There was a couple times. Yeah,
yeah.
I think if the game was close, they would have gone to
I think they're just like, let's just be done.
yeah, and so it is what it is.
Mhm.
And it's unfortunate, but I mean, at least he made his debut.
Yes, it
Um,
counts flawless debut, as Jim said.
yeah, hey, and so I'm really happy at least he got, and I'm sure you're going to see a lot more of him against DC. So
Yes.
overall, one final other thought: what would you change from this tournament?
I mean, just selfishly, I love that it was at our stadium the whole time and all that. But I mean, I do feel for the Mexican teams a bit. They were on the
Yeah.
road the entire time. So it would it it would definitely seem more fair if it was played in both Mexico and the US. But
I also think, and I've seen a couple people say it's like maybe do a Europa style tournament, have it kind of broken out throughout the year, maybe have group stage at one point.
right, to just stop for a month with
Maybe
MLS.
even I've seen some people say maybe only take the top 16 from,
Hmm.
both league. I don't know. I don't know if there's a clear cut answer to it. Do I think it's going away? Probably not. Do I think they're going to let move the games to Mexico? Probably not. But there should be some improvements, for sure. If they're going to continue to do this, who knows? But
That
I
being
think
said, I was impressed with how many Monterey fans were there. So good,
that's a good
so
amount.
good for them.
Yeah. So anyway, that was League's Cup for this year. Let us know what you thought about it. We've seen a lot of comments, interactions on social media. So I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, wasn't a fan of it, but did have fun.
I had a lot of fun. Yes.
So I'd probably give it probably 4 out of 10. Not recommend. You give it.
I give it a 7 out of 10.
Would recommend.
Would recommend.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So
Could have done without the whole messy circus, but
it is what
it
it
is
is.
what it is.
All right. So let's talk about Montreal. So we did get to visit Stade Saputo.
Yeah, so we did. We had a great trip up to Montreal. Awesome city if you've never been, definitely recommend. And we spent one of our days there going to the botanical gardens and going in that area, the biodome and everything. And in the same area is Stade Saputo, which is the stadium where where Montreal plays. So that was obviously not open at the time, but we walked around.
Yeah, we tried to. The guy never got back to me.
Yeah, we'd reached out to
Yeah.
their people to see if we could, maybe get a tour or something, but that didn't happen. So we just kind of walked around the outside of the stadium.
Hmm.
Yep.
So there's kind of like where the
We
entry.
can kind of see in.
Oh,
So
let's go back here. Sorry. So this is kind of like the best shot of the stadium. We got to see him. We kind of walked around. It's an interesting setup. I would say this about it. It reminds me very much of a exaggerated high school stadium. Very
right.
it's there's a lot of open structure. It's just a weird setup too. Like you just walk around, there's like a dirt path around it. Um
Yeah, that
like the
just kind
team
of,
store was very tidy. It was like this little tiny store. Like it was
yeah.
kind of right past the entrance. Like where ours has all like, you have all the players and you can see like this is a Union store. It's kind of just this little store with a sign that says like paper sign. It literally was a paper sign, I believe, that said like team store, like here are
Mm.
the hours. Um and there was like an area for press, which it was kind of interesting to see that setup. Um, I mean, it was bigger than what I thought it would
It
be.
felt to me kind of like a D2 college or
That's
like
a very good
smaller D1 kind of
stadium.
stadium.
And then they had the training pitch, which was right between that and,
Mhm.
the old Olympic Stadium and the Biodome. There's just like one pitch. It's not like what we had before the construction. It was like multiple. There's just
Yeah.
a training pitch. And so that was kind of interesting. It was just very if you didn't know what you were looking for, it kind of could miss it
Mhm.
because you have this beautiful gardens and like area all around it. The area is beautiful.
Yeah,
Like,
if you go to Montreal, go to the botanical gardens. It was amazing.
yeah, it's right across the street. And and then you go to the Biodome, which is basically a big zoo. And
Mhm.
then you can also go into where they do the National Olympic Canadian swimming team. We went and saw the Olympic pool
Yes, yeah, we did.
because we always find pools for some reason because we're swim coaches. I guess we
Mhm.
always end up finding a pool,
We
but
do.
the area is nice.
Yeah,
It-
and Montreal itself, like, what a cool city, and we, got around quite a bit, and
and we got some stickers,
yes.
and yeah, we brought some friends along there too. This
Yes.
is right at the entrance. Brought a free kick, and uh, who else do we got? We got across. Yep, we got
We got across the
pitch.
pitch.
Yep, we got across the pitch. Ours. Yeah. So everybody made the international journey with us,
Yes.
so to speak. So that was cool. I loved Montreal. It was a cool town. So again, if you ever get a chance to go up there for a game, definitely make that. And if you have been up there, you probably know if, and especially like craft beer, there's like you spit and there's a nano brewery or craft brewery like every block. It almost seems like there was a ton of them. You're like looking at me like,
There
huh?
wasn't that many,
I
but
would
there's a
say there's
bunch.
more than
Now,
what
restaurants and stuff,
I would
there
say
was a
there's
lot.
more than like a lot of major cities because it really did seem like I was like, especially some of the parts, it was like, wow, there's like 4 craft breweries on this block, like area.
Well,
Yeah,
but the food, there was a lot of good spots for food. They had a
yeah,
lot of different types of food. We ate at one of the best restaurants in Canada at
yeah,
this Thai place that was phenomenal. I mean, there was food from all over the world too. Like there was Tunisian food, there's
yeah.
Portuguese food, there, of course we went to Little Italy, like there was all this different stuff. But
It was a great time.
yeah, we were only there for like 3 days, so not even 3 full days.
So overall, I would like to go back and actually see a game there. I think that's something
Hmm.
I would like to add to my
For
list
sure,
down
for
the road.
sure.
Telling some other people because it looks like it could be a fun time, but obviously we didn't get to see enough of
Yeah.
it to really make a full detail. But we wanted to share those pictures with you. It was a fun time.
I learned a little bit of French
Yep.
because I did not take French. I took German. So
So let's end it on just talk a little bit looking ahead now that we're out of Leagues Cup.
all right.
So coming up next 5 games, Union play DC and Toronto on the road. Then we're back Red Bulls at home. Then there's that weird international break. Then we got Cincy, and then we got Charlotte on the road again. That will lead into that other last 6
Hmm.
games, which are going to be against some of the best teams in our conference. So, and LAFC, obviously. Um, so I guess my first question is, how concerned are you about fatigue?
Well, I think it'll be it's good that we get a full week off of games finally till we play DC. Okay.
Yeah,
And that's not a far trip, thankfully, too. I'll be making the trip. I know you won't be, but I'll
yeah,
be going down to DC, and I hope we have a lot of fans going down. I'm sure we will.
it's gonna be a
It's
good
not the
time.
DC we faced last year, so we got to
No,
bring it. And I think that'll be a good test of where we're at. Okay. Because see how we bounce back. And Jim Curtin said Julian Carranza should be good to go for DC. It'll be interesting to see how Ty Barbo gets used and just kind of what we do with the lineup there. But I really want to see us win that Toronto on the road. If gosh, with how they are right now,
yeah, they're kind of going through some stuff
I
to be.
we need to
Yeah,
go win that one.
yeah,
Um,
that's one where we have to win.
yeah, and then our remaining ones are going to be more challenging. Yeah,
I
so.
mean, I'd like to see at least maybe get 2 wins here, maybe a draw.
I want to see us beat the ever living daylights out of LAFC when they come to our stadium. But
I mean, the next 5 games, if we can get 8 to 10 points, that'd be great.
yeah.
I'd be ecstatic with 8.
Hmm.
Especially if but we gotta get more if we want to keep pressure on
Right,
Cincinnati.
right.
Um, I think it's possible. But who knows? Who
Mhm.
knows? And then, for the last 11, it's going to be tough. I think the biggest thing for me is can Union somewhat build off of this, tournament, keep pressure on there. And honestly, if we finish in the top 2, 3, I'm going to be really, really happy. Um,
Mhm.
Maybe we make a push at Cincinnati, but I think that ship has sailed. But
Who
I want
knows?
to see the scoring improve, get a couple
We need
more.
to finish.
We need to finish. We need to get some clean sheets. Just get that,
Mhm.
if we can go into that last 6 games and get through that feeling confident heading into playoffs, we'll see. I mean, that's really what it is. And we have a pullout right now. How you feel coming out? Are you excited? Hopeful, um, concerned, or very worried? And I think for me, I'm between excited and hopeful. I'm excited that if everything clicks, it's game on. But I'm hopeful that we can continue this, but I'm also not at the point where it's like it's time to be very concerned. Are there some concerning things? Sure.
Mhm.
We really haven't kept a lot of clean sheets. The offense really still hasn't clicked at times, but we'll see what happens.
I'm hopeful.
I'm between excited and hopeful, but you're heading to DC this weekend. What
Yeah.
do you look and you kind of explained what you're looking forward to.
Yeah. Yeah. Going down to DC with Ptolemy, and we've got a whole bunch of people going down that I know of. So guess I'm kind of capoing with her.
I guess.
So we'll see how
Which,
that Kyle.
my thoughts on it.
You
My thoughts on it.
need to be supportive husband,
I
right?
am supportive husband. I
Good.
just know I'm like, okay,
Well,
have fun.
yeah. Hey, the away days are most of the time the really dedicated people that will participate in chants and get rowdy. And remember when we were at DC last year? I mean,
It was
that
a
was a good
great
time.
time. That was a
Also
great time.
didn't hurt that we beat them 6-0.
Yeah,
So
let's also be honest on that. But enjoy the stairs, climb Mount Everest.
yes, well, that'll
But
be considered leg day, I guess.
yes, for sure. But and then we also got the Sons of Ben have an event and on the day
Yeah, we have a
after.
busy weekend next weekend. That's my last weekend before actual school with my
But
students
if
starts.
you
So
haven't thought about that's gonna be
yeah.
a great Sunday, and I think
Yeah.
where's that, 2SP?
Yeah. So yeah, Pints for Pets, it goes to a good cause, as cat parents ourselves, we rescued cats, and we always like to support shelters and other causes
Correct.
that help out pets. Yeah, so definitely worth checking out. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be there. And then since we're already going to be in the area, we decided, well, let's go to the U2 game.
Yeah,
So
so we'll check our second U2 game. That'll be
yeah.
fun. So we'll make a day out of it. But yeah, definitely consider checking it out. And I think information's on the Sons of Ben
Yeah, go to
website.
Sons of Ben website if you're interested.
Yeah, but it should be a good time, good beer.
Hmm.
As always, they're one of the better breweries. I really enjoy their stuff. Speaking of
Yes.
which, yes, I did kick a beer last night. So
Yeah, so you can't keep giving me crap about it.
yep,
Because last year
I
when
did
I
it.
kicked over
Turned
his
around
beer.
to talk to our buddy Jose, and as soon as I turned around to talk to him, I had my beer sit down and kicked it. So
Hmm.
I guess I can't now. But that was a fun trip. Fun time last night, as always, at Subaru Park. We hope to see you guys this coming weekend, whether it's at DC or at Sons of Ben and at a U2 game. But that's all for the episode of the One Team We Agree On.
Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment. We love hearing from you. And honestly, it's been really nice getting to meet people in person and interact with those of you that we have talked through online means. So yeah.
And we got some more guests coming up, so stay
Yeah.
tuned for that.
Yep. And if you have any ideas on future episodes for guests or anything at all, send them our way.
And until next time, I'm Kyle,
I'm Jillian.
and we'll see you at the game.